Silence, please. Sound rolling.
Nice.
Sorry guys.
Hi, this is Monish.
1 second.
While choosing the clients, so the clients and us needs to be aligned
Right.
in terms of thought processes and all.
So as architects, you have to get involved and provide that space.
It's a cloudy day in Noida. We're sitting 300 meters away from the river. We're at Ant's studio and we're here to discuss with them about a project of theirs. Before I introduce you to the team, you can download a PDF ebook from our website buildofy.com, which will have all the drawings, images, very well shot photographs and all information about the products used, material palette, everything. So without much ado, I'll introduce you to the team who are here with us from Studio Ant. We have Swati, who is the interior designer. We have Ashwyn and we have Monish. This is not the first time we're all coming together, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've Buildofy and Studio Ant have been associated in the past, where we talked about one of their projects, a beautiful one, not very far away from where we are sitting right now, called Anahat. Why don't you say about the response that you got from the video about this project?
So, thank you very much, Kanishk, for introducing us and also about the studio and the previous project that we did with Buildofy. So Anahat is really special to us in many ways. It's one of the projects where we try to experiment quite a lot with parametric architecture, design tools and also fabrication. And thankfully the story that you guys actually put together in narrating what our actually vision towards the project, and showing it to the world was really helpful.
As we are about to sort of drop the location pin from Noida to Chhattisgarh, Raipur, I'd like to just say that you can watch the video on Anahat, as we just discussed, on our YouTube channel. Why don't you start by telling me something about the project that we are discussing today, Peeyush Residence, and what was it like to bring it all together?
We were dealing with 3 different clients at the same time.
Right.
So 2 brothers and their dad who were actually the point of contact, and they all come with different inputs.
Right.
So for us, I think what was really interesting is that everybody got their own taste.
Right. So it's like 4,300 square feet, if I'm not mistaken.
Is the plot area?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that 4,300 square feet, 3 different types of clients with 3 different tastes and 1 house. That itself is a task, right?
When we first made the design for the project, it was 3 curves that are actually facing 3 different directions. It's a very simple idea. So in this, the sketch, what we thought is that if you make these 3 arcs that are there, and each one opens towards a different direction, and we have these greens and terraces coming at different levels, and we can actually use that as a medium to bring in the landscape into the cross section of the building. So for the external facade, it has to be very robust and that can last different seasons and everything. So we suggested ferrocement for the building, which the interesting thing that we did is we try to integrate the ferro, the whole technique with the actual framing of the building. So there's a lot of detailing that went into how these things can actually become an extension, so that we can add ferro to the whole thing. And also if you look at the curves, so we had to give this little details where the drop and everything were considered. So after the finish, the whole curves and everything look seamless.
So Ashwyn, you mentioned that a lot of credit is due to the project contractors and people who helped you achieve this, because this is not like your regular frame structure, right, which they are familiar with. How did you achieve that sort of cooperation and coordination with the contractors?
So I think a lot of effort went into exploring at the site.
Right.
Like the false ceiling team. So they were localites from Raipur, and they had never done something like this. They had never even imagined something like this. So we had to sit with them at the site and tell them step by step that we are going to do something like this.
I want to add a small detail in here, especially with the ceilings. So this guy was really scared in the beginning.
So the contractor, you mean?
The contractor, the false ceiling guy.
Contractor.
He wouldn't turn up at the site. He was so scared. He was scared that हमसे नहीं हो पाएगा.
Arey.
And then we had to send the team actually over there, like one of the team members, to say that okay, why don't we do the marking, sit with them and actually train them how to do it. And he's like, "नहीं sir, ये तो नहीं हो सकता. Don't tell anyone that we did this. We don't want to get people
Another
will ask us to do.
complication.
This takes a lot of time and we don't want to do."
That's
I said, "Okay."
So the contractor is telling you that don't tell people we did
हमारा
this,
नाम मत
हमें और
लेना.
नहीं करना है.
नहीं, हमें और नहीं करना, हमारा नाम मत
It's
लेना.
just the opposite of what usually happens.
Yes.
Usually
Yeah.
happens. And finally, when it got over,
Right.
now this guy probably is like a celebrity false ceiling guy over there.
Oh God.
Now the images and everything
deserves to
has,
be.
he deserves to be.
Fair.
And he sustained this entire disaster of whatever, making these curves and everything. Now, like, it's one of the, obviously, the final product of it is something that he's really proud of.
While the project is so bold and extravagant on the outside, what I really liked was that towards the interiors, it has sort of subdued the extravagance in a way that, like you mentioned, you've used very subtle colors and there is a very monolithic appeal. There are not too many things happening inside. So, and Swati, as the interior designer, I would like to ask you that was the idea of the facade and the interiors flowing into each other a very conscious thing that you had in mind while you were deciding the overall color palette and the vibe of the interiors?
We didn't want to contradict the interiors and exteriors. The house should say the same story.
Right.
The curves has its own character, so we subdued it with the use of colors, so like we said that the floor, the ceiling and the walls are all the same.
So guys, now let's address the elephant in the room, the most eye-catching, distinct, attention-seeking element in the house. The brick sculpture that you have designed along the staircase, it flanks the entire flight. What was the idea behind it?
Ultimately, end of the day, it's one house,
Right.
and one staircase, which is so the sons who are living on the upper floor, like, they have a lot of social network. The friends come in and all of that. So they were, when we were discussing about the railing for this as a staircase, because one house we did not want to block it.
Right.
Even when people are moving up and down, whether it is all throughout the day, the privacy is a very important factor. So we said, okay, what if we, instead of doing a typical staircase with a railing and you're just doing something, what if we treat the entire railing or the screen that is there in the middle as a sculpture itself?
Right.
What if we do that, like, look at it differently, and wherein the play of bricks and angles and everything, what we tried doing in here, becomes a screen that is like, and all the angles and everything that we have done, they have a deeper meaning, because the way they are aligned are in such a manner that it cuts off the view and it kind of creates the privacy, which was the part of the brief.
We are sitting right in front of the workplace where probably Peeyush Residence was ideated, born, curated. What I really like is, the overall vibe of your office is very earthy. It's cottagecore, sustainable. There is terracotta, there's thatch, there's MS. It's a very raw, rustic, industrial look. When you look at this, you sort of know what the firm stands for. But at the same time, you have a house like Peeyush Residence, which is so different in terms of the narrative, the syntax, the grammar of the design.
Yeah.
So, is it like a deliberate attempt by you all to like sort of make sure that there is no particular design style or grammar that you would like to be associated with? So how do you sort of find an identity in terms of that?
See, there are two things that we as a studio that we take very seriously. One is definitely when it comes to architecture, pushing the boundaries by experimenting with the materials, the forms, and what is possible,
Right.
and trying to take it as close to imagination as possible.
Right.
Inherently, I mean, we are all creatives. That's what actually Picasso rightly said. It's everybody is an artist, but the difficulty is retaining the artist in you. That's the most essential, like the difficult part of it.
See, through this office, we are just putting out what the kind of architecture we believe in.
Right.
So anyone who's visiting us, anyone who's seeing us, we want to put out that like this is what this is the idea. These are the ideas we are
The
believing
idea
in.
behind the space was like, you cannot think out of the box sitting in a box. So
Lovely. I mean, art, nature, and technology, right? And so sort of everything has to like go hand in hand, and you cannot like put precedence of one over the other. Swati, Monish, and Ashwin, it's been amazing talking to you all about Peeyush Residence. First Nahat, now this. And I absolutely cannot wait to see what you all do next with all the vision you have, with the idea and goals that you have towards sustainability, construction, with regards to your firm as well as individually as designers. And good luck and thank you. It's been amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank
It's
you.
nice
It was
talking to you.
pleasure.
Cut. Pani pilao.
Nice.
So hot.
Well done.